everyone. I skipped yesterday. Sorry, didn't feel like it. Some days you just get out of the bed and you just want to go back in.
And other days you don't.
And other days you don't. You just want to knit. I did get a fair amount of knitting. I'm on my sleeve now. Yay. And you're knitting. What are you knitting, Christine?
I'm doing a beanie.
A beanie.
A beanie.
For a Christmas present?
Yes, it's for one of my lady friends who has hair. Lots and lots of hair.
Oh, good.
Not somewhat like yours.
Yes, my floofy hair. This is my friend Christine.
Hi.
Everyone. Christine, how did you came knitting here? No, you came shopping once, right? Is that how we met?
I came shopping, and then you told me about your knit night.
Yes.
So then I corralled my friend, and we came to knit night.
That's right.
And then we kept coming because we had so much fun all the time.
It is a fun group.
And then one day I walked through the door and I read your sign on the door that said "Help Wanted." And as
Experienced knitters.
Experienced knitter. And as I'm walking through the door, I said to my friend, "Oh, I should just apply for that job." And Leslie went, could you start?
I did. I was like, yes, I will take you.
So that's how we started our friendship.
Yeah.
We just started from there. Yeah.
A couple of years ago now, right?
A couple of years, yeah.
It's so funny because I've had the shop 5 years, but it doesn't, the timeline for who started when and I don't know.
Yes,
Chris came with the shop when she worked here. She was already working for the previous owner, and then she got. I inherited her.
Yeah.
And then you came in maybe 2 years after that.
Maybe because it's been 2 years now since I've been coming.
Yeah, for sure.
Not as often in the winter, obviously, but
no. Well, you have a bit of a drive. Christine lives.
Kingston, it's
an
about
hour?
an hour and
10,
depending on traffic or my eyes.
Yep. And you have to take the boat. You'll take the boat sometimes.
I came over on the ferry.
Did you? Yeah, because the ferry is nice.
Yes, it is. I enjoyed it.
So we're sitting at this is our knit night table, but when it's not knit night, we load it up with books and all the patterns and fun stuff. Have you seen the latest pom-pom?
No, actually.
This is the latest pom-pom. Can you see the details in the sweater? Like, it's so pretty.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nora Gorham, what can you say?
I know. She's phenomenal.
Beautiful.
Yeah, there's some lovely stuff in there. And one of my friends, Bae, on her Instagram, she's actually knitting this out of some of her hand-dyed yarns. It's like, I can't believe, like, she's a fairly new knitter, and she's doing this sweater. You should see it. It's incredible.
I looked at that.
She's amazing.
A couple of times and thought about it, and then I thought, no, it's not my style.
Yeah,
so
I know. I loved it at one.
Just to knit it, I decided I would prefer to buy this one for the Nora Gorham pattern.
And then you bought the book, The Vintage Shetland Project.
Yes, I did, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, it's a big, expensive
I read it like
book.
It's a novel.
Yeah. Did I hear that right? It took like 12 years to sort of put that together. Is that true? Do you know that?
Pretty close to that, yeah. She's been a knitter and a designer for a very long time, but she's recovering from cancer.
Oh, okay. So that was sort of her project, a feel-good project.
And she's done an amazing job. I absolutely love the book, and I've picked out some patterns. I've actually contacted her.
Have you?
And told her which one I really want to do, so I'm going to buy the kit to do that particular cardigan.
Cool.
If anybody knows this book, then if you look inside, you'll see the one that's a kind of orangey coral color.
Okay.
And it has the Fair Isle here, and it's a cardigan. I love it. I really want that one.
So when it's Fair Isle, it's almost always steeked when you're in a cardigan, right? Pretty much? Or unless you're piecing it like a front and a back. Because we're going to try and do a knit along.
Steek that.
Yeah, because we're going to try and do a knit along. I've kind of put it out on our Facebook. We want to do Fiona Ellis.
Oh, she's wonderful.
I love her. Hi, Fiona. She is coming, I think, to the Fiber Fest. And so we want to do her sweater called Rosalind. And it's the pictures of it on Ravelry. It's red, and there's like color work, but she's done it so you can place the color work where you want it. Some of them she does all of the front and not in the back, or a stripe of Fair Isle in the back, or like one sleeve is different than the other sleeve. I love the asymmetrical thing. That is so cool. So we thought, well, if we do the knit along and we start it in February, because I think it's a worsted weight, hopefully we'll get it done by Fiberfest in May, and maybe we can get a picture with her when she visits. Yeah.
Well, she would love that.
Yes. Yeah. And I think Fiona's coming in November for my knit retreat in November
Great.
to teach again. And I think, who is this? Oh yeah, and I've been talking to Holly Yo. Holly, if you're watching this, I will email you back as soon as I get through
She
the
promises.
Christmas crunch, because we've been kind of going back and forth trying to sort out timing, because she's out in BC, trying to get her to come, and she's going to try and swing a visit to her mom in Edmonton and then come the rest of the way across the country.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah, she does some really cute stuff too. So then once we figure out that those two are coming, then it's always the picking of the classes. That's always hard, trying to decide.
Well, you try and accommodate everybody's choices,
And
but you
skill
cannot
levels.
do that. And
No. And we've been doing it for 5 years. So then trying to come up with a class that we haven't done, or do we worry about that because it's a different teacher, so they have a different way of doing all that stuff anyway. So I never make up my mind. It's hard. Because Fiona's like about color work and cables, and Holly's a little different aesthetic, but does color as well. Yeah, so I got to look through they always send me a roster of all their classes their skills that
And
they
there's always
do.
somebody that wants to learn from the beginning, or they're just tiptoeing into the cable work or to Fair Isle.
Well, now, always with color work, I could do the class over and over again, the two-handed stranded. Like, I can do it, barely, but I only ever knit with this hand and I purl with, no. I only can knit with this hand and purl with this one because my tension goes all wonky.
And I can
Someone's
only
peeking
knit
in.
Fair Isle with this one hand. I drop a yarn and I pick it up and I knit with it.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. I know, it's hard because it's that knitting continental style.
And I'm a thrower.
Okay.
That's how I learned when I was a little girl.
You throw,
throwing.
and you don't go continental, you go normal.
No,
right?
I have a very difficult time with that. I usually end up getting upset and then I just go back to my throwing.
I know.
Because I'll
Because
throw
I'm
it.
left-handed, so you would think I'd be that much more dexterous, but
No,
it's
no,
just awkward.
I love
I'm
it.
actually looking for my husband. I thought he might have come in here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we corral them.
We like when men shop at Christmas time.
The husband's
They're
section.
very quick decisions. Anne was working yesterday in the shop, and she said, "There's been a few men in here. Boy, did they look lost." They're ever hopeful they're going to find stuff.
Yeah.
Just ask us. We have lots of ideas, and half the time we know who the wives are, so we can go, oh, so-and-so likes this. I remember when Linny's husband came in last Christmas. I'm like, oh, I know exactly what you're getting her.
That's true.
But the hard part was after he left, he's like, okay, now you can't tell Linny that I was here. So I was lying for weeks. I am so uncomfortable lying, and I have to do it in a kind of where it's not lying. It's like,
avoidance.
so when she says, did my husband come in here? I'm like, now how would I know what your husband looks like? So classic avoidance. You're not answering the question. How am I going to know what your husband looks like? Because really, how am I? I don't know him. But he told me who he was. I just sort of worked around the question.
I'm so easy to buy for. Just give me yarn or books. I'm
I
happy.
know, it's like
any yarn, any book.
When Tim and the kids ask what I want, I'm like, well, it's all in the store.
That's right.
I kind of already own it, but I don't own it, but
And
I
then
own it, but I want
home
it.
and love it up in my little stash at home.
Yes.
It's growing
Yes.
immeasurably.
Okay, so my stash, I guess because I own a yarn store, I can, I steal from this stash. I don't steal, I own it, but you know what I mean. All my stash are all these little balls of bits. I have balls of bits
I
of
know.
balls.
Yeah.
I don't have full skeins. I don't have like, oh, there's a sweater quantity that I bought a bazillion years ago.
Oh, I have
Do you?
quantities. Yes.
Yeah. Because when I see these people doing podcasts and they have this lovely wall of yarn behind it, well, I do, but I don't get to have it. I have to
No.
sell it to pay my mortgage.
And I often buy, not knowing what I'm going to make. I buy it because I love it.
Mhm.
And then after I take it home and love it up for a while, then I might decide what it is that I'm going to do. Or I'll pick it up and it's a shawl. I just know
Yes.
that yarn is going
Yeah.
to make a lacy shawl.
So when you buy a skein because you love it, do you usually buy two so that you've got something, or do you just do the one?
No, I usually just, well, not always, but usually I buy one
Yeah.
because I love that particular skein. But I have lots and lots of fingering weight, so I buy it by the skein.
Yep.
Because I know I can get a shawl or a scarf
Yes.
out
Yeah.
of it. And maybe
When you like
enough
color work
leftover.
too.
I love color
So
work.
you've got lots of, you don't need like a sweater's quantity, you don't necessarily ever need 10 of something. So.
Not unless I'm doing a puffin cardigan.
Yes.
The great,
Yes.
the great puffin
great
cardigan
puffin.
event that is no longer on the needles. Yeah, which is going on the needles. I've seen some
Right.
patterns that are on Ravelry that I
Oh.
love
Yeah.
because it was too big. It turned
Yes.
out too big, so my gauge was
So you're
perfect
you're
for
gonna
that.
frog the whole thing.
Yeah, because I didn't realize that.
Well, you also have shrunk a little bit too in the last year. You've lost
I'm
some
not
weight.
that size anymore,
Yeah.
but in my head I was.
Yeah.
So I knitted it to fit that picture of myself.
Yeah.
And then when I put it on, my mother said, that would fit an elephant. You better take it off and rip it out.
So Christine's Instagram is Live for the Needle,
Yes.
and your Ravelry name is Live for the
For the
Needle.
needle as
yes.
well.
Yes. Yeah, and Christine's a very excellent knitter, and she does test knitting for a number of people, right?
Yes, I
Yeah.
have done for Kelly, our favorite little
Kelly
girl,
McClure,
Boho Knits, yeah.
Boho Knits, and
A little church.
Little Church Knits, who's Cheryl Toy.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I've knit for Mina Phillip, the knitting
Oh,
expert.
really?
Yes, I have.
Cool.
And I've done some other work for other
Yeah.
people that, just ask me to do a
So
test
your
knit.
gauge is pretty much dead on every time.
I
you
make
knit?
sure the gauge is correct
Yes.
every time. Even if I have to change the needle size because I'm a very relaxed knitter.
Yeah.
So definitely I change
Okay.
the needle size to get the gauge that they ask for because that's very precise if you're doing test.
Yeah.
If you're doing model knitting, it's more precise than if you're doing test knitting.
Right.
Because
Makes
test
sense.
knitting, you keep the garment.
Oh.
You just test
okay.
knit it and rate the pattern and
Right.
figure out if there's any mistakes. But if
Suggest
you're
any
model
edits.
knitting, then you get the yarn and you knit it to gauge to the size that the designer wants, and you send it back to them.
Oh.
And it's usually
okay.
then published in a magazine
Right.
or
Oh,
online.
okay.
Yes.
Cool.
So there's a lot on, especially Little Church Knits. A lot of them I've done.
Our model knits.
All her model knits.
Yeah, because she's put a few in magazines.
She has
and stuff.
lovely knitting
Yeah,
patterns.
she does.
Yeah. And Kelly as well, of course.
Yes, we love
We
Kelly.
love Kelly. She's our girl.
She is, and she's coming back to the shop in the spring, I think. Hopefully, we'll see.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Well,
Yeah.
all depending on Cameron's breastfeeding schedule.
Yeah, little boys take over their mummies.
Yes, they
Yeah.
kind of do. He's a sweetie,
Yeah.
though. He can come and hang out with Bun Bun.
Oh, yeah.
Soon, someday. Hey, Bun Bun. All right, that's Vlogmas for today. Sorry I missed you yesterday. I was just being boring sitting on my couch. It's a very unexciting life owning a yard store. But it's good. I wouldn't change it for the world.
No.
Bye.
Bye.
Spoiled Benny.
So we came on Saturday, we got his other gifts. My mom had done a jigsaw puzzle, and it was a dragon, but it was a nice dragon.